questions. Obviously, for us, we're welcoming the announcement of Comrade Tito Mboweni, who is a member of our National Executive Committee, as the new Minister of Finance. Comrade Mboweni is a veteran of the ANC and has a vast wealth of experience both in policy formulation within the governing party. Long before he was Minister of Labour, he was very much an integral part of the ANC's economic transformation committees at Luthuli House, right from the word go. So we're speaking about a person who's very au fait with the direction that the governing party hopes to go. Primarily, his appointment is to ensure the implementation of the stimulus package that the President talked about. But you'd also know that the stimulus package differs very little from what the ANC has pronounced over the last 10 years. And the focus will be on infrastructure, as well as the ICT sector and agriculture in the main. And we have full confidence in his ability to ensure that there is moves towards the recovery of our economy in the right direction. He's also very well respected internationally. He, as you know well, as Governor of the Reserve Bank, he interacted a great deal with other governments. So we believe that that does stand us in good stead. We also want to say that the ANC reaffirms our own position. We had in January of 2013, when we asked for an independent commission of inquiry into what is termed state capture, but in effect what is serious endemic corruption within the country and in the state itself. And we also believe that it is correct for anyone with information that will assist the Zondo Commission to make themselves available as a participant. On the issue of Comrade Nhlanhla Nene, we appreciate the fact that he chose to resign after the furore that took place post his own submission to the Commission. He is a valued person in the ANC, and we think that he has made a contribution to our country. We believe that he made a decision that sat well with himself, and we appreciate that. And we hope to move forward speedily to enable stability in the National Treasury and its institutions, in particular the South African Revenue Services. So those are the remarks that we will make and hear from you.
Thank you. You're quite few, so I mean, one round of question will be sufficient, except the one hand at the back.
Mercedes from SABC Radio. Has Nene perhaps indicated to you that he also maybe intends to resign? Has he spoken to you, I mean, as Member of Parliament? And those were very serious allegations, but his apology and the fact that he lied, how is the ANC dealing with it? What are you saying about it? That's round one. Okay.
No, there will be no second round for you.
Okay.
We must help each other.
So I'm just trying to find out from the ruling party side, how are you managing the perceptions that it is the party that is now being that's on trial at the Zondo Commission? Nene was the highest ranking government minister that had appeared, but there are currently other cabinet ministers that could appear, and as well as former ministers. I think maybe one that just top of my head is that he's also an ANC member currently that could possibly appear also. So I'm just trying to find out, how does the ANC manage this kind of perceptions about its moral compass as we lead up to the elections as well? How concerned are you guys?
Lester?
Thank you, Mr. Duarte. Lester, NCA. Now that Mr. Nene has resigned, is there an expectation of other ministers to also fall on their swords, those who have maybe admitted to particular meetings with certain individuals, or will reveal that during, if they are called to testify before the commission?
You're just the last hand right at the back.
Yes.
Do you mind just to speak up a bit?
Yeah, sorry. There are, as we know, many ministers who, and ANC officials who have close associations with the Guptas or make them. Do we expect that those people should come out and express, and kind of disclose what they did and their relationships? Would that be a good, healthy thing for the ANC to do now? And then secondly, you yourself, Mrs. Duarte, will you be going to the State Capture Commission and giving evidence?
And this way, last hand.
Yeah, quite covered. And this here, McGann from the Sunday Times. When you spoke about something that is called, I think you said people refer to it as state capture. What do you refer to it?
Okay, yes, yes.
Okay, let's start with, I'll do my best. Comrade Nene hasn't spoken to the ANC at all, so we're not sure what his plans are. We only know that he resigned and it was announced yesterday. And let me also just say, so that you undo that question, were we consulted about the new person? Yes, we were, as was COSATU, the SACP and SANCO, and that's normal in the alliance. Yes, the perceptions are that the ANC is on trial, and of course we are concerned about that. What we are, however, more concerned about is that whatever generates perceptions in the Zondo Commission must be based on facts. We're concerned that it should not be a perspective of a view that is put about an individual that governs how the Zondo Commission will finally make its own conclusions. However, we're very aware that that's not going to be how the media behaves. The media will judge people and put perspectives that will create a notion that calls for resignations. We know that, and we saw that with Nhlanhla Nene almost immediately. Will there be expectations for others to resign? I think it's going to depend on the individuals and how they present themselves and what they put to the Zondo Commission and how that is understood and what culpability there might be inferred in what they say. Whether they have are gone out of their way to ensure that a particular family benefited very directly from the state's coffers, or whether they were in fact treating this family as they would any other business in the country and dealt with them in much the same way. I think the important thing is that whoever goes there must be factual themselves and not attempt to say one thing now that they might not have said before. Or if they're going to expand, refer to what they've said before as well. Will we what would others do? I really don't know what others will do and how they will express themselves in the Zondo Commission. I'm not sure. I've not seen or nor discussed with any particular individual. Will I go? I'm very keen to go. I think that it is important that we all understand the role that was played by the ANC in the establishment of the ANN7 as well as, what's this other thing? ANN7 and the New Age. And by the time I got into the picture, that was a well-established fact. I'm very willing to go and talk about meetings I held with Muhsin Williams. No problem with that. I have nothing to hide. Not afraid to say that we did discuss a media that would give the ANC unmitigated space to put its policies forward. I will do that with pleasure. No, I think there's state capture is a particular condition. And as we're working now, we can also say to you that hopefully at some point we'll move beyond only examining one family and also look at what's happening at local government level. And very keen to examine that reality, where some of the work we're doing now in terms of the National Dispute Resolution Committee and the links that we see with people demanding leadership at local government and other levels, and how that relates to their business interests is a very important thing for us to examine, and we will, and we are looking at that. We've done some work ourselves within the ANC. The ultimate thing is to ensure that we understand that when a person has benefited directly from having made a connection, that is corrupt. And that is what it is. And hopefully, in the Zondo Commission, that is what will be proved, is how people have benefited. Not perceptions, but reality, truth, and fact. And the sifting, as they say, what is it, facts, truth from facts, is a very important notion. And whose truth are we really telling, you know? So I think this is a very important season for our country. Very few African states have this opportunity. It's a golden opportunity for us to emerge out of this with clarity, including how we would wish people to behave when they are appointed as ministers, deputy ministers, mayors, and councillors, MPs and MPLs. All of that. The fact that a person's name is mentioned by another person does not mean a person is corrupt. I think we must be cautious about that. Mentioning Feki Mento, having mentioned my name, I never met Feki Mento on any matter except her broken leg, does not mean that I'm corrupt. Or nor does it mean that Feki Mento is in any way mismanaging facts. She said what she said. On the issue of the banks, the ANC has decided that we will make a submission in response to what the banking sector had said. We also took our own notes. We also had our own set of similar questions to all the banks. So that is the submission that we are working on at the moment. Hopefully when the Commission rises again, we will discuss when we will be able to go and make our submission in response. So I think that's what this Commission is about, is to give the country an opportunity to hear all sides, not just one perspective on issues.
You haven't answered my question about the public apology and the fact that Nene lied. What is the ANC saying about it? And maybe in addition, do you hope to see the state of capture inquiry concluded before the elections? And your alliance partner, the SACP, is going there. Are you supporting that?
Yes. Yeah. We support the SACP going to the Zondo Commission. We think it's correct that they should go. We haven't talked to Comrade Nene. We haven't talked to him. And so at the moment we think that until we have an opportunity as the ANC to have a discussion with him, we don't want to be judging him. The conclusion that is made is that he didn't divulge how many times he went to the to meet with the Guptas. I think it's more important to know what he discussed there, even if he went there once. So this counting of times becomes quite irrelevant, frankly. It's more the content of people saying, well, I went there to discuss 1, 2, 3, 4. That's much more important than the number of times that a person might have gone there, wherever they went, or how many times they saw people. That's more important, we think. So what is worrying is that there appears to be this counting of times. So if you went 4 times, then you're less guilty than in Nhlanhla Nene. If you went 5 times, you're less. If you went 10 times, then you're more guilty than Nhlanhla Nene. The issue is content. Much more, that is the issue. Hopefully, you know, when we meet him, we can talk about that. So I'm not really ready to answer your question. about how the ANC feels. We haven't discussed it. Today is Tuesday. This happened on Friday. Yeah.
And the conclusion of the state capture inquiry before elections?
We don't think it will conclude before elections. And so of course it is a concern, but we must allow it to take its time and do a proper job.
Thank you very much. Lester?
Two more questions, please. One is, as far as I'm aware, Mr. Nene is the first minister, South African minister, to resign, and even the inference of impropriety. This despite so many ministers being implicated not only in this issue but on various other issues of impropriety. What does this say about the level of accountability of South Africa's public representatives? And secondly, on the South African Reserve Bank report into VBS Bank, has the ANC seen that yet, and are you willing to make a comment on that?
On VBS, we have not seen the report, and nor have we discussed it.
No.
On the issue of will others resign, I think people who are going to go to the Zondo Commission, our humble request is that you go there only to tell your own truth, not a version of the truth, not a perception of the truth, but the hard facts as they really stare you in the face, no matter how difficult that might be for whoever. Of course, let me say that you're probably trying to avoid using people's names, and I respect that. But everybody who has been found to having had some difficulty with the courts, for example, I think we're quite clear on that. When a person is found guilty and sentenced by a court, the ANC's view is then that person must step down, as was the case, for instance, with John Block in the Northern Cape. While people are still on trial and they've been accused, we also have to respect the fact that there is the notion of innocence until proven guilty, and not that you must come and disprove what I find you guilty of. You're not guilty first, and then you're accused. So I think there are slight nuances. I'm sorry, I'm taking a long route around. But those who go must just tell the truth. And if it's going to be a harmful truth, then they must suffer the consequences.
Thank you very much, members of the media. Thank you, Jessie.
Thank you. Is this mine or yours?
No. We found it here.
Oh.
Thanks very much.
This is mine. Mine has got the big crack in it.
The one is broken.
No, it works. It's broken, but it works.
Let's let me ask Steve.
Oh,
Sorry, Jessie,
yes.
I'm from Reuters
I've
and
got to go. I'm doing a long period now.
I just want to check something while